Section 1.4 is titled Ordered Pairs and Relations. Some vocabulary terms here, and most of these you're probably familiar with. A coordinate plane is formed by the intersection of two perpendicular number lines. The axes are the perpendicular number lines that form a coordinate plane. The origin is the point of intersection of the axes. The x-axis is the horizontal number line. The y-axis is the vertical number line. An ordered pair is how a point on the coordinate plane is described, and we use values for x and y. The x-coordinate then is the first number of the ordered pair, and the y-coordinate is the second number in an ordered pair. So let's look at a coordinate plane. Here we have a coordinate plane. Remember that axes are the two perpendicular lines that are numbered that intersect to form the coordinate plane. The x-axis is the horizontal number line, and the y-axis is the vertical number line. Where these two number lines intersect is the origin. So let's look at a coordinate plane and graph some points. Remember, x-axis is horizontal, y-axis is vertical. When we graph ordered pairs, they are in the form of x, y. So the first number is where we go on the x-axis, the second number is where we go on the y-axis. And we always start at the origin. So number 1 is point B, and it's located at 2, 6. So if we start here at the origin, we're going 2 units in the x direction and 6 units in the y direction. This is point B. Point D, we're going 1 unit in the x direction, 3 units in the y direction. This is D. Notice again I started back at the origin. If you'd like to pause the video here and see if you can plot the next 2 points on your own. Number 3, we have point G at 4 in the x direction, 7 in the y direction. And point H is 5, 0. So we go 5 in the x direction, but we don't go anywhere in the y direction. So our point is actually right on the x-axis. That's point H. Now let's go the other way. Give the coordinates of each point, and it says to name the quadrant or the axis that it lies on. Everything in this quadrant is actually quadrant 1, so all of our points are going to be in quadrant 1. We'll deal with negatives a little bit later in the semester. So let's start with the red ordered pair. We need to name this. Remember that we start at the origin, and our ordered pairs are x, y. So we go 7 in the x direction and 8 in the y direction. So this ordered pair is 7, 8. Next we'll look at the orange dot. If we start at the x or at the origin and we're trying to get to this point here, we actually don't go anywhere in the x direction, so that would be 0 for the x coordinate. Then the question is, how high do we go? So 0 in the x direction, 7 in the y direction. So the ordered pair is 0, 7. This ordered pair happens to lie on the y-axis, so it's actually not considered in quadrant 1. Okay, let's look at the yellow point. We're starting at the origin. We're going 8 in the x direction and 4 in the y direction, so we name this point 8, 4. If we look at the green point, 2 in the x direction, 4 in the y direction, so we name the point 2, 4. If you'd like to pause the video and try to name the purple and blue points and then check your answer. So for the blue, if we start at the origin, we're going 4 in the x direction and 0 in the y direction. This ordered pair, this point, is on the x-axis and is also not considered to be located in quadrant 1. Finally, for the purple point, we have 6 in the x direction and 1 in the y direction. One thing I would like to point out, if you pay attention to the two ordered pairs that are located on the y-axis and the x-axis, notice the 0 in both of those ordered pairs. A few more vocabulary terms. A relation is a set of ordered pairs and can be shown in a table or a bar graph. The domain of a relation or a set of ordered pairs is the set of the x coordinates in the relation, and the range is the set of y coordinates. So what you want to remember here is the domain are the x's and the range are the y's. So let's look at a relation and express it as a table. Then we need to determine the domain and the range. So when a relation is expressed as a table, we make an x column and a y column. Then you simply list the ordered pairs. Typically, we will write the x's, the ordered pairs, so that the x's are in order. Now, if you look at this relation, the x's go 0, 1, 2, and 3. So they're already in order. So we have 0, 2, 1, 4, 2, 5, and 3, 8. So we have expressed the relation as a table. Now we need to determine what the domain is and the range. Now also, when the domain is listed, typically we use the curly brackets and again list things in order. So for the domain, we want to list all of the x values, 0, 1, 2, and 3. And for the range, remember those are the y values. Again, we want them in numerical order. They happen to be in numerical order here, so 2, 4, 5, and 8. In class, we'll work on worksheet 1-4. Hopefully you find this lesson fairly easy and mostly a review.